Burkina Faso has removed the French language as its official language. And this is really an interesting news for me, as someone who is very passionate about Africa as a continent. Burkina Faso officially removing or no longer recognizing French as an official language is a step in the right direction. It is a new development for not just for Burkina Faso, but for Africa as a continent. And I was following the conversation online, and some people seem to think that it is a very minimal thing to do, that it would not make any impact. But I think this is beyond language itself. People shouldn't just take it literally, like the language itself. This is about the message this will send to France, the colonial master of Burkina Faso. So this is about sending a strong message to France that we are no longer going to be your puppet, and we are starting that by removing your language as our official language. There's so much that has happened in Burkina Faso in the last couple of months. So this is just one of the developments. And personally, I am very excited about this new development. It may seem small or minimal, as some people seem to look at it, but for me, it is a win. It is a win in the right direction, because the change that we are hungry for on the continent is not going to happen overnight, and it's not going to happen in giant steps or giant leaps. It is something that is going to start as small as changing of language, adopting our own mother tongue, our own languages in Africa as our official languages. That is how a change is actually going to happen. It is not something that we can sleep one night and wake up and boom, Africa has transformed completely. It is small changes like this that are going to build up to the change we desire, the change we want to see on the continent. So for the people who think that this is such a minor thing, what is the celebration about? I don't see it that way. I feel that we are taking a step in the right direction. This is not just about Burkina Faso, as I said, but about what it represents for the entire continent. And I hope that many of the African countries that are still under the French rule can, or the colonial rule can do the same thing, take little steps in making sure that they start by removing the French language. They start by removing the French military from their country, like Burkina Faso and as well as Mali did. So for me, this is quite exciting, and the conversation online is quite divided. Nonetheless, it doesn't mean that the country will no longer speak French, as some people are misinterpreting the whole thing. It's a country that has spoken French for as long as we can remember. So people are still going to speak French. French is still going to be a business language in Burkina Faso, but it is not going to be officially recognized as one of their official languages. That is the difference. I think it's probably still going to be used in schools, but like I said, it's a small change that is going to build up to bigger things that will happen, not just in Burkina Faso, but across Africa as a continent. So because it's no longer an official language, this doesn't mean that people will no longer speak or have a desire to learn French, because predominantly the country speaks French. So for you to do business, for you to interact with people, you will need to be able to speak French or learn to speak French. It just means that this is no longer an official or officially recognized language. And this move, this is actually, it's seen as a symbolic break from the country's colonial past. So this is beyond just removing a language, right? This is a move and a message to the colonial master. We no longer need you, and we don't even recognize your language as one of our official languages. And it remains to be seen what the long-term consequences of these decisions will be. Some people say that if Burkina Faso happens to go with one of their native languages, it may cause division in the country, and that is true. So we don't yet know what type of languages they're going to adopt or how many languages they're going to adopt. But I can take the case of South Africa as an example. South Africa has over nine official languages, and many of these are native languages, except for English. So if Burkina Faso, for example, has more than 5 languages or more than 10 native languages, they could make as many native languages, official languages as possible instead of choosing one. Because when you choose just one native language, it may send the message that the other people speaking the other language are not that important, which might not necessarily be the case. So I think that what happens from now going forward is also crucial, so that it doesn't bring about tribalism and things like that. To be able to minimize tribalism and the conflict that may come out of that, I think that not just one native language should be selected in Burkina Faso as the official language. Many of the languages within the country should be considered to be able to minimize the conflict that may arise. So nonetheless, they are sure to have a significant impact on the development and the cultural landscape of Burkina Faso as well as Mali, because Mali also removed French as its official languages. So, but the most important thing in this move is that we are rewriting who we are as Africans. The programming is being dismantled slowly, one step at a time. So now it's left for the educational system. It has to be decolonized as well. Probably this is a conversation for another day. The educational system in Africa, it really needs a complete revamp for the decolonization to fully happen. And it's not just going to be about language, but it's going to be how we are taught to think about ourselves, how we are taught to see ourselves, So it is important. I believe that the next step should be to tackle the education system on the continent. And the good thing about this is when you're looking at this, the president of Burkina Faso is a young man like this. He's only 36 years old, but look at what he has accomplished in his country. Look at how much change he has brought to the country so far, irrespective of how he came to power. But there is significant change that is happening because of him. There's significant change that we can trace back since he took office. And I think that is something to applaud for. That 36 years old is doing, what he is doing. For me, I applaud him for that. And it is important, to not focus only on the negative aspects of it. Every human being has something negative about them, but to focus on what this young leader is doing in his country. And I believe it is something to be admired. What if more young Africans could arise and make changes within their own countries, even if you're not a political leader, within your own sphere of life, within your own profession, you can do something that will actually make change happen in the world. Like I mentioned earlier, Mali also removed French as its official language back in June of 2023. So this is a movement that is happening across the continent, and I'm excited about it. I'm looking forward to more things happening on the continent. I really, really respect this young leader and what he is capable of doing. He's fearless. He is a visionary. He is not scared of France at all. He's not a puppet at all. He says what he wants to say, and he means what he says, and he says what he means. So that's the type of leadership that I believe the continent should be looking forward to. And someone also said that he is the reincarnation of Thomas Sankara. I don't know your thoughts about that. Do you feel the same? Do you think that the new president of Burkina Faso is the reincarnation of Thomas Sankara, who was one of the greatest leaders in Africa? I would love to hear your thoughts in the comment section. and thank you for watching.